month. This is the month of July, and fibroids is a very, very important issue, not only in the world, as 80% of women are dealing with this, but as a personal issue for me. And really, I find that there are some underlying root causes, and this is where functional medicine, integrative medicine, really comes in to play its role in the future of functional medicine, future of medicine. Power of functional medicine is right now. So what's so important is let's get to the root causes and understand this situation. So very important to get early diagnosis, early screening, and what's important is to be proactive. Proactive, why? Is there something that a person can do about it once they find out that they have a fibroid? See that they're very slow growing, and often it's watchful waiting until they get to be a size that's too big to be very uncomfortable, either causing back pain, pelvic pain, abnormal bleeding during the periods, and other issues that can become more serious. And it's told to many women that it's just purely genetic, purely genetic, and nothing can be done besides a surgery, which is often a hysterectomy. They say there's over 300,000 hysterectomies that are done because of fibroids. Over 80% of women deal at some point in their lives with fibroids. And 20% of those 300,000 who are getting hysterectomies don't know that there are other options when dealing with fibroids. Now, what we're here for in integrative medicine is, again, to be proactive and preventative. In other words, once it's removed, whether it's surgery, embolization, can it grow back? Yes, because the root causes weren't addressed. So there's a combination here of genetics and epigenetics. Epigenetics means the lifestyle and environment and how that affects the genetics. So we always often quote the founder of functional medicine, Dr. Jeffrey Bland, who says that the genes load the gun, but the environment that pulls the trigger, meaning that the genetics versus epigenetics, it doesn't necessarily have to express itself because it's written into the genetics. And that's what's so important. And this is where functional medicine comes in. So now we have to speak about what are some of the root causes of why the fibroids are growing. We all agree integrative medicine means the best of conventional medicine with the diagnostic, the ultrasounds, diagnosing it early. But the integrative part, the holistic part, now begins to look at the whole person, because we know that fibroids grow because of estrogen, because of these hormones. Estrogens now, over the last 30 or 40 years, are now been more prevalent in the environment because of what's known as xenoestrogens, pseudoestrogens. These are estrogen-like compounds in the environment from these chemicals that are known as forever chemicals. And they're made from Teflon, nonstick, flame retardants, BPA. You might be familiar with plastic. They also are in pesticides, our drinking water, and they act as estrogen mimickers. And this is why this rate of fibroids and other estrogen-related cancers are ever increasing, because these environmental estrogens are in our environment. But more so is because we are not clearing them out as well as we should. And we understand so much more about estrogen clearing out, detoxification, removing instead of recycling. And we know so much more now about the different types of estrogens, that it's not just estrogen bad, estrogen good, it's just all genetic. It's more about what is estrogen breaking down to. And this is where functional medicine gets into the contributors of this fibroid growth, which is it's feeding off of estrogens. And estrogens can be made through a process known, many different processes, one of which is aromatization. Now that has lifestyle components to it, such as gaining weight around the middle, around the central waist, such as alcohol and stress and insulin resistance. This will increase that enzyme. And that enzyme aromatase will increase estrogen. So that's one of the major things that need to be worked on and is so important as far as a lifestyle component to this. And also what's so important is how the liver is detoxifying estrogens. And there are different processes in the liver that we can measure on advanced blood tests that contribute to poor removal of estrogen. Some of these are vitamin markers that are important for these processes, such as zinc and magnesium, vitamin D, and other nutrients that need to be at optimal levels, not just in the range. And this really will help with some of the liver detoxification processes to remove estrogen, and some of the ways that aromatase, the enzyme, can be controlled through these as having sufficient amount of certain vitamins are very important as in addition to those lifestyle choices that are made that can increase aromatase. But see, the liver can remove estrogen. We don't want to recycle estrogen because there's a certain components of estrogen that are more proliferative and more telling the body to grow. That is what we want to control, those types of estrogens. We don't want to just be simplifying it that all estrogen is bad and then give medications or drugs that stop estrogen or block estrogen. We want to make sure we measure what types of estrogens, how does the woman detoxify, remove estrogens, improve those processes, and that includes the gut microbiome because there's an estrobolome, which means there's a whole component of removing estrogen in the gut based on a certain gut bacteria providing this enzyme that helps to remove estrogen. And that's an important component. And that's why it's more holistic, because we see that it's not just a fibroid, it's gut, it's metabolic with insulin and cortisol and sleep, it's environment, what's around us with makeup and cosmetics that have estrogen mimickers that are called phthalates or BPA in our plastics. All this is so important. So this is where integrative functional medicine comes in, to really put it all together to optimize health, be proactive, preventative, and then we can combine the genetic propensity with the epigenetics to keep it from expressing itself to these problematic fibroids that are just ever increasing and causing more and more complications in women's lives. So this is why we're coming on live here today, to really get the message out there, to look into integrative functional medicine, because you can put the best of both worlds together, and especially be preventative and proactive with getting a grip on fibroids and controlling them, not letting them regrow after surgeries either, and really not letting those genetics express itself. All right, everyone, have a healthy, happy day.